Hello, hello. Welcome in to Coaching Over Cacao. My name is Kiki. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are tuning in from. So grab your favorite warm beverage. For me, it's my cacao. Mm, Added a splash of cinnamon this morning because it's starting to get chillier here in Maryland. But coffee, tea, matcha, whatever makes you feel warm, fuzzy inside. So we are diving into posting potion ingredient number two. If you didn't catch ingredient number one, no worries. Check out the guide section. We went over hooks in a previous video, and the whole month of October is dedicated to 5 posting ingredients that every post needs for magical success to magnetize your content, right? You spend all of this time and energy and you pour your creative essence and energetic stamp into what you create. And sometimes we get crickets, right? Social media is a giant experiment or a game. And if we take a step back and take a deep breath, it can be a lot of fun. And we can take some of that pressure off of it for ourselves. So, one of the things I learned or didn't learn very early on, took me some trial and error, was wanting clients like immediately, right? And we post and we want a sale, which is awesome. Our business thrives on sales. We that money is an energetic exchange so that we can pour back into our business and pour back into our community and grow ourselves and our skills and add new life into our community, right? It's just money's just energy. So we post and we all want that client, but that's not the first step, right? Think about it as you go on your first date and the guy's talking about how many kids you want, where you want to live, when what the wedding's going to look like, and you're like, "Whoa, buddy, I want to see if we have a connection first," right? So that is the missing middle step, right? We they hit the like button or follow or friend and we're like, "Hey, buy my thing." Right? We're so excited. We're like, "We want to help you. We want to do this." They may not be there yet. They may need to hang out and get a little bit more taste of you, who you are, what you stand for, before they decide they need or want what you offer. And that's where your profile, whichever platform you decide to hang out on the most, tells your story, right? So think about, what story do you want to tell? What parts do you want to share? And if you ever think back to when you met your bestie, whether it's your best friend, your business bestie, maybe it was high school or college, and or maybe it's later on. Like a lot of my close friends right now, I have met through networking groups, Facebook groups. I've followed them on TikTok. I've had a session with them. They've had a session with me. So the connections are made. Think about what drew you or what draws you to the accounts you follow. Is it their personality? Is it their mission? Is it the words they use? Most likely, it's all of the above, right? It's never one thing. So let's talk about our copy. Copy is very simply the words on the page, right? It's what we type to tell the story. So it's not the visuals, it's the actual words. You've probably heard the term copywriting or copywriter. Those are people you can hire to help write and tell your story on your website, help with emails. I do a lot of copy and emails for myself and for social media for my clients when they're up in their area of expertise. Sometimes there is a disconnect between what they know and how they talk about it and where the people they serve are. So if you're talking about healing trauma and I don't even know if I have trauma or how to define trauma properly, I'm not going to be attracted to go to your account, right? So you're talking about a solution to a problem I don't know how to identify. I don't know if I have. So we want to start with a great foundation, right? Building blocks. Keep it simple, keep it basic. So let's talk about the 3 P's that I think about before I even start to write. What platform am I going to be posting on? what type of post is it, right? Is it a graphic? Is it a carousel? Is it a reel? That determines the format. And then what is the purpose? So there are two sides of purpose, right? What do I want this post to do for my audience, right? Take an action, maybe point them in a direction, create a connection, move them a little closer to working with me, maybe booking a call. And then also, what do I want it to do for me? So, big picture, where does social media fit into my marketing plan? What do I have going on as a business? And I highly encourage to focus on one thing, right? So if you have 5 different offers, focus on one thing for, let's say, a week, right? Where you're talking about different parts of it, and it might sound boring to you or monotonous, or like, oh, I'm going to bore them, or they're not going to want to read about this. We are in the age of instant. People don't remember, right? We scroll super fast, and most of us, when I started in sales 20 odd years ago, we used to have to touch a client 8 to 12 times, uh, whether that's coffee or meals or phone calls or emails, anything that was a touch point where they reciprocated, between 8 and 12 times. It is now between 20 and 30 times, and in at least 4 different locations, right? So that's according to market research, data, and current analysis across social media. We have so many more places we can go. And I know some of us, myself included, feel the pressure to be in all the places, right? You don't have to be, because then it makes you special, right? It's like some of our favorite restaurants, let's say, are not typically franchises, or they're not on every corner like Starbucks, right? Starbucks is great, but you can find one everywhere. I don't know about you, but I love the mom and pop coffee and tea shops. They're different, they're eclectic, they're special. So don't feel the pressure to be in all the places. If you hang out on Facebook and that is your jam, stay there. Have a blast, right? If you're feeling the call and intuitive pull to be on Facebook and Instagram, awesome. But I would say focus your time and energy on your top 2 places, and maybe do a social media audit. Like, where do I like to hang out, and where do the majority of my current customers come from? And this is for all types of business. So whether you have a brick and mortar and you do in-person work, you do 100% virtual, or you do a hybrid, social media is not going away, right? You can use newspapers, you can use word of mouth. At the end of the day, as a consumer, you've probably done this. You Google, and then where are they? And you might follow and like, and you want to see what they put out, right? Then you get on the email list, you get their newsletter, you get their sales and their events, and right? And the businesses that are excited and have that energy about them, at least for me, attract me in, right? So good morning, good morning. Welcome in. So what platform matters? If you are on X or Threads, more so X than Threads, smaller character count. So if you spend all this time and you have this long form post, you're going to have to shorten it for X and Threads. And then if you flip over to Facebook and YouTube, you have a lot longer character count. You can write a mini novella. And then Instagram is shorter than Facebook, but a lot longer than Threads or X. I'm not on X. I'm not on Threads. That did not call to me. I was on X, which used to be Twitter, and I felt very limited in telling stories, so I quickly got off of that platform for a moment. A little tickle. And I've been ping-ponging back and forth on Instagram, and in a recent meditation, it was like Facebook and Instagram are your primaries, and then play and experiment on TikTok and YouTube to see what's going on, what works, and things like that. So that's what my higher self and guides have dropped in for me. So think about your primary platform and focus your time and energy there. So with the post, if it's a static post, meaning just a single picture, what story does the picture tell, and what gaps can you fill in with your copy, right? And a lot of times I start with copy and work backwards to the type of post. So I don't necessarily select a post first, and then I do the hook last, which we talked about in a previous video. So I am showing it from top down, and then feel free to play with when you do these, right? Some of us, I try to leave the Canva and the creation for last because I can get sucked in. I love that part. The part that connects us, that creates that emotional connection, is the copy. And what I found in the beginning, I didn't have a plan, and it was like hot potato. You ever played hot potato where you're like, oh, not me, not me, not me, and a timer's going down, and whoever has the potato last is out? And it felt like that. Like I knew I needed to post, right? So you have that need to energy. It was like, I don't post, I'm not going to stay relevant. People are going to forget me. My business is going to go under. Or I need to post, I need to make a sale, I need to make an announcement, right? So that energy is attached to that post. That's your energetic signature. So I started to shift that energy. And in addition to that, I realized I wasn't planned. It, my posts and my feed and my wall, whatever you want to call it, it felt disjointed. It didn't feel like a story. It was like a chapter from this book and a chapter from that book and a chapter from this book. And it felt all over the place to me, and I was creating it. So if it felt like that to me, most likely it would feel like that to someone viewing it on the outside. Maybe, maybe not. But when I started to have a plan and build my social media around my business, around what I was launching, so if I had trainings coming up, if I had a new special healing session offer that I was talking about, I recently digitized my Celtic Reiki program, so chatting about that here and there, that gave me more of a framework, a little bit more structure, so I knew what I wanted to talk about, and then I would share pieces that fit in instead of, okay, I have to post today, I have to post today, and you have that like blinking cursor syndrome where you're staring at the screen and you're like, okay, or you're like, I just want to post and get it off my plate, like the hot potato. It's done and it's rushed and it really wasn't thought out. Or worse, I was doing a Canva audit and I found a ton, at least over 50 graphics, carousels, even a few short videos I was playing around with that I have never posted. So, creating the content is fun and easy. Posting it and taking action and writing the copy and connecting all of the dots is the biggest challenge for myself and for my clients that I find, right? We want to feel like we're putting something out there, and we also want to feel heard, and we want to feel seen. So thinking about your post, if you have a video, some videos don't even need a caption, right? You throw the hook up there, might have one or two sentences, and you're good to go. And I have several clients and friends that when they post reels, it might be a handful of words, or it might be a handful of emojis, or it might not be anything. Like people are coming to watch the video. And then thinking about the platform, people don't typically go to Instagram or Facebook or TikTok to be entertained, or to be entertained, not to be educated. And I don't know about you, when you want to learn something, I'm going to Google and I'm going to YouTube, or I'm going to podcasts. Love learning from podcasts. But if I have downtime or I want to turn the brain off or get some brain candy, like I call it, I would just scroll, the cat videos, like the feel good, the fuzzies. So thinking about that and matching your content. So if you're on Instagram and people are looking to be entertained, maybe doing something that has more humor, or sharing a funny story or an embarrassing story is going to attract people in. And then we get to the third piece. So we've talked about the platform, keeping that in mind so you know the length of the copy, the post. So is it a graphic? Is it multiple graphics in a carousel? So you have something for each one, like a little mini paragraph for each photo in your carousel, or is it a video and you don't really need a whole lot? And you can also put some text on the screen instead of actually in the caption under or around the picture. And then purpose. What do you want out of this post for you? So, what do you want your audience to do? Do you want them to like? Do you want them to share? Do you want them to take a specific action like comment or DM you? And what do you want it to do for them? What do you want them to feel? What do you want them to think about, right? A lot of content that goes viral and that attracts new audiences and is very shareable is what's called thought leadership. So you're changing the perception of the lens at which people look at the content or the topic that you presented, right? There are so many different ways to look at things, and you have a beautiful, unique perspective that only you can share with the world. So there are a lot of accounts out there that are Googling and that are using ChatGPT and that are regurgitating common questions and answers. The piece they're missing is the unique perspective. People come to your account because they want to hear what you think. They want to hear what you feel. And it can be scary to share your beliefs at first. I know because it took me a little bit. And the more I did it and stood out on that limb, the more people reached out to me and they're like, thank you so much for sharing. I thought I was the only one. It is in sharing our unique thoughts and beliefs that we attract more people like us, right? Going back to my question from the beginning, thinking back to your friends that you have, your besties right now. Where did you meet them? What attracted you to each other? And how has that impacted your life? And how can you repeat that online? So, one of the big mistakes I made early on is I put too much purpose or I wanted too much out of my posts. So I would want people to like it and share it and comment and take an action. I was asking way too much of a follower, so they would end up doing nothing. So now I'm very clean. One thing. What do I want them to do? One thing. So we'll get into calls to action in another week, but just really thinking about what you want this post to do. So I want my audience to feel seen. I want my audience to feel safe. I want them to laugh, right? What emotion are you looking to evoke? And that will help in what stories you tell. And then taking that step back and looking big picture, right? So we're talking about one single post when we're breaking this down and talking about copy. But that one post fits into a much larger picture of your marketing strategy. And that is going to be unique and different for each and every person, depending on where you are in your business, what your current 90-day goals are. I love breaking things down into 90 days and then chunking it to 30 days. And then we plan out weeks in advance. That works for my brain. And I've planned out a year with larger events penciled in, and I'd say 9 times out of 10 they get moved for energetic reasons or didn't feel right. So 90 days feels really good to me. Let me know how far in advance you plan and what feels good to you. Um, so platform, pick one, do an audit, think about where your current clients are coming from. For me, let's say 80% come from Facebook, and then the other 20 are a mix of word of mouth, my email list, and a sprinkling from Instagram and TikTok. So look at that. That's important. If you have a large portion of your clientele coming from one platform and you shift and focus your time and energy there, your content's going to be better and it's going to attract even more people. And I don't know about you, but I love doing what's easy and aligned and feels good. What are you posting right now? If you are posting graphics, maybe add in some carousels, maybe add in a reel or two. And the reel doesn't need to always be your face, right? I don't know if you've heard the term B-roll, B as in boy. So it's not A-roll because you're the star, so you would be the A character. It is B-roll, so it could be over your shoulder, just you typing on the computer. It could be you out and about. It could be your feet walking on a trail. It could be you handwriting in a journal, coloring, right? Use your creativity. unpacking crystals, sharing a new crystal. Like it could just be the crystal in your hand. There are so many videos that you could use as reels, and the 7 to 10 seconds are really popping right now, at least on Instagram. I don't have statistics for TikTok and YouTube because I'm experimenting with the under 60 seconds. So, all right, let me know your thoughts. Give me a hashtag replay if you're catching this on the replay. So, what platform are you on the most? What type of post? And what's the purpose before you sit down and chat and start working on copy? And the biggest tip I have for copy: record yourself talking and start to read the transcription. So you can even get on Zoom and start chatting and then upload that to YouTube. It has a transcript, or if you have Otter, Otter, it's a free software you can download that connects with Zoom. So, and I think Zoom even does its own transcript now from the last update I saw. But start writing like you talk, and or just do talking head videos here and there, right? Start to get used to the sound of your own voice, but listen to what words you use on a regular basis. I found that when I transitioned from my 9 to 5 into social media, I was very buttoned up. I remember some people like, Kiki, let your hair down. That's not how you talk. That's not who you are. And I was still in that like corporate writing mode, like very professional, and I didn't want to have any mistakes and I didn't want to have any spelling errors. Honest to God, people don't care. And if the people care, they're probably not my people. So I quickly let go of that and just started to post. And the more you post right now, at least in the next 30 days, the more data you're going to have on the type of posts that do well, and then you can create more of those. So if we can detach the emotions and not tell ourselves a story of that wasn't successful or that didn't work or I'm not a good writer, which I hear all the time, I'm not as creative. Yes, you are, right? Social media is an art form, right? It's like arts and crafts. I don't know about you, but I didn't start out loving crafts. My mom was an art teacher and also a school teacher, and she had 2 degrees, has 2 degrees. So there was a lot of creativity in the house. There are things I'm better at, and there are things that my sister's better at. So, but those are variances. But we all have creativity. We all have these thoughts and ideas, and only we know how to talk about our gifts in an art form, right? The medium's always going to be shifting and changing. So that's why I say start with where you are, where you feel comfortable, where it's easy for you. And if that is Facebook, awesome. If that is over on TikTok, fantastic. Run with it. Give yourself permission to have a 30-day experiment and start layering in these elements. So we've covered the haunting hook and the posting potion. So the copy is really your essence, your thoughts, your emotions out on the page. And if you think about it and shift perspective to your soul aligned client and how you want them to feel, what action you want them to take, what next step or direction, it's going to greatly transform your copy. And getting in their head. So going beyond what I call surface level data or demographics. It's great for Facebook ads. So like if you know, I work with women over 40. Awesome. That's a Facebook ad stat. That doesn't really help you with what you're writing. But if you talk about women in their 40s who have had psychological or emotional trauma, maybe came from conservative households, who are victims of abuse and survivors, right? Like, let's go deeper and talk more to, I hate the term pain points, but the past, right? What have they lived through? What have you lived through? And what light can you shed on it? What perspective can you give to what you've lived through? Because most of us are serving a younger version of ourselves, right? We've lived through something, we've acquired skills and tools to not only help ourselves, but help others. Speak to that previous version of yourself. And that might mean meditation and asking questions. Like, who do you really serve? And go really, really deep, right? what are they thinking? What are they feeling? And how can you help them think more positively? How can you help shift where they are to where they want to be? And what is that transformation, right? And not fluffy or vague, like, I want to live my best life ever. Yes, we all want to be happier. But what does that mean to them, right? Freedom. What does freedom mean, right? Is it financial freedom? Is it time freedom? Is it freedom to pick up their kids and be more present in their life, right? What is going through their mind very specifically? And then you can tell stories and write posts that speak to those points in their life. I had a lot of peas today. So let me know your questions. Let me know your thoughts. And who's going to do the 30-day experiment? Start posting more. Copy is not scary. It's just talking, but words on paper. So have fun. Invite your audience to have fun with you, and invite them along to read parts of your book, right? Your blog, and you get to decide what chapters you share. You can't get it wrong. 1,000%. Every time you post, you're getting better. Every time you write something, you're learning what you like and what you don't like, right? We need that contrast. So play, right? I write every day, whether it's emails or to clients, social media, for clients, right? I am physically handwriting and writing every day. Maybe you want to challenge yourself to do that 3 days a week or 5 days a week, and maybe it's only for 5 or 10 minutes. It gets your brain trained to do certain things. So I definitely try to do it the same time of day and the same type of content. I am very big on batching and not context switching. So that's when our brain is doing one thing and then we ask it to do another and then go back here. That takes a lot of mental focus and energy, and it's multitasking, right? Instead of really, okay, I'm going to focus on copy. Now I'm going to focus on my creative, like the visuals, the video, the posts. Now I'm going to go over here and work on a hook to bring people in to read and watch and do and feel. Make sense? Thank you so much for watching. I see you, I support you, and I love you. Until next time, get out there and embrace your magic.